works great. And you can tie it on any of your standard nymph hook, curve, scud hooks or whatever, light wire hooks you want. But unfortunately this guy doesn't carry it, it's not around anymore where he's selling these things. But so really, but as strong as this hook is for the size that it is, it's wonderful for this. Absolutely wonderful.
What size are you using?
Well, in this it says it's 16.
You can find them.
What, fly fishing specialties?
Fly tying
Fly tying specialties.
I don't see that he is because I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I haven't been on Facebook in almost a month. So I'm not free to give my information. I think that's.
Was he at the Pleasanton show last year? No,
Yeah,
not this year.
not
the
this
year
year, but
before.
last year.
Yeah, okay.
Last year was, well, in fact, that was the last show he has done.
Okay, so here's the drama of the fly. If I get past this, I'm okay. So I'm gonna try to. They come in all different sizes, but I try to get the ones that I kind of think they would fit the best. So quite obviously, a mallard flank. And by the way, these are dyed because I haven't seen no green mallards. Like literally, they're called green mallards, but I haven't seen green mallards. But see, that'd be way too big for what I'm gonna do. Because I'm gonna do what I'm gonna use this to make the tail and the back section of the body. But if I can luck out and go to my right, this, pull that guy out of there, and then what I'm trying to do is look for. Take a little off of this side here. I'm going to try to do 2 fibers going that way, split that off, and 2 fibers on this side, split this off. I'm surprised somebody hasn't yelled out to me the name of this fly as far as the catskill version. So basically, an offshoot. I robbed a catskill fly to make this fly. Gene, you know what it is?
No.
2-feather fly. But I made it into a 4-feather fly.
Don't know too many Catskill flies, haven't been back there for 30 years.
Well, you tied this style of mayfly sometime
I've
back.
taught, about 10 years ago, I did the same body and tail on a Calamatus.
Okay, so I'm gonna. What I did was, if you notice, I split it and then I pulled those fibers against the feather back against it. See, to make that little. I call it like it's kind of like a little outrigger in the back, right? And it gets a natural curve in the mayfly. You see that? Is that coming up? You see where I did that?
Yeah.
That makes sense to everybody? So I kind of like took and cut out those little tails, and then I took the remaining part and I pulled it forward against it like this. Here's a drama. Here's a big drama. Big drama of it right there. You see how like I pulled it there and made a big body like that? So. And in the catskill version, what they did was, here's one that's called 2-feather flies. They literally used this stem and that and posted up and hackled it, and that was the fly. That was all the fly was. There's that and some hackles, so that's why it's 2 feathers. And but I thought it was such a cool concept that I wanted to make it into like a green drake. And or actually, it was brown drakes when it originally started out. So I decided to omit this part of it, even though it's a great idea. And like I said, the thread's going to get a little, I'm going to have to put some wraps on here because my hand's frayed the crap out of that thread. Now right about where that bump is, which I'd say, if you kind of could imagine there was really a point on the barb here, this would be about halfway up on the hook shank right here. I think that's why I like this hook too, is because actually it's not completely curved like a scud hook, so I actually got like almost like a plane to work on with it. Bags of CDC, and but it's natural, which is a dyed dun color. You know, it's a dun color, it's a natural color. And then they dyed it yellow, and the yellow really doesn't come out too much, but it's there. So, and this is a great bag of CDC for what I'm doing right here. All these nice pieces in here. So I'm going to try to find a couple. Once again, I'm going to try to match up a couple of feathers that I think kind of hang together as far as the quality of feathers in them. And I'll go with those two right there. Those two candidates look great for what I'm doing. And I haven't quite got down the wing length as much as I fished the long ones and the short ones. And I don't know how much difference it's made in the end on this fly. I haven't had them flip over on me. I haven't had them whirligig like when I'm casting them. But they do meander literally like a duck going down the stream, which is really nice when you get the take. You're feeding that little fly and it's just kind of doing that. So that's really, really what I want. So I'm gonna set the wing up here. Now I'm kind of exaggerating the wing a little bit. It's a little on the tall side. And then lift it up, and now I'm gonna put some wraps in front of it. You see how I kind of sandwiched in there? Kind of coning it up in front of the wing to stand it up a little bit. Pinching that in there, and then I'll come off of here, and we can kind of trim this, all this stuff out of here in the back out. It's a shame to get rid of that good CDC, but yeah, it's not like Zealand. You can't save it all, can you?
I don't know, I do.
Okay, I'm going to trim the butt sections down and then come back forth here and comb that up with a nice little round. Alright, now it's starting to stand up a little bit like I like. You guys see that? Now this is totally flim-floppy, wiggly-woppy. There's no structure in that whatsoever. Right? And I need to add a little bit of structure to this fly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, now going over the top of this, I'm going to take clockwise turns like if you're looking down at it, right? Everybody see that going up? Now I'm going to come back down and say 3 turns. Now I'm going to go the opposite way. Up, down. Anybody want to take a good guess why I went one way and then went the other way?
To cancel some kind of effect, or
Yeah, if you look, it kind of twisted a little bit, it torques it, and if I kept always going the same way, this wing would be like working its way like this. It'll still do it, believe it or not, even if we try it. But, and this is exactly, I'm kind of like taking out the torque of the thread in it, that how it affects the wing. But see, right now I got a little bit of structure, and I have a lot of grit, so you know what, if you can do it one time, you can do it 2 times. This is free of charge, no expense to make the cool fly. Alright, cool. So now it's really rigid. I mean, look at that. That base right in there is great. So this is one of these flies where I don't think you have to hackle all that heavy on there. You just have to have some hackle in there to kind of outrig it. And you know, like when I do sometimes my Adams parachutes, I really put a pretty good amount of hackle in there, you know, because you pay good money for hackle, you want the most you can get on a fly, right? Well, some people think that. So the two, typically in here, I put on here, I use medium done hackle, but Whiting came out with this really good golden olive on the high and dry cape right here. And I started using this just because it looks really super buggy. And anytime you get grizzly is always a good thing, you know. So it could be, you know, done dye grizzly, or you could probably even get it with a really good grizzly hackle that has more dark in it than light. Use it, but or use done that I've used in here, dark done or medium done. But this really is some good stuff right here. So I kind of like, before I pluck it all out, I like to take a test drive here and see how it's looking. And I might go a little bit bigger than that one, so I'll work up the cape a little bit. You see, I don't go pulling them out, because what happens is you got a whole bunch of feathers over here, and you don't have enough Scotch tape to put them back on. And then you got a bald bird. So if I can, I try to, you know, grab a feather, see how it looks, give it a test drive like that. If I get close to the size I think I want, then I pull it out and go, yeah, that's okay, that's cool. So it saves you a little bit of effort there. stripping out all your hackles off of your cape. Especially pay good money for a cape, you don't want to ruin it. So what I'm doing here is I'm stripping out, and I'm gonna tie this in. Oh, you know what I did that I didn't do that I need to do here? I'm blowing this. Got the yellow here, back to the mallard flank. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this really deep, dark yellow, and then I'm gonna use my light. See how it's a little goes right there? So I'm gonna get me probably about 1/16 of an inch section. We don't need much. And pop that off. And this is where it gets a little bit ambidextrous. So I'm going to come along here, and on my side, I'm going to tie in. It's going to rotate on me, so I'm going to use my rotating vise to help here. I'm going to tie in that mallard flank on the side right there. See that? It gives that kind of, on a drake, that kind of veiny look, or adds a little something to it, or I could just be illusionist and say, oh, it looks really neat and I like it as a tire. So it's your choice. You could admit that. You don't even have to have that. But I think it kind of adds a little bit of flair to the fly. So probably now I'm up to about 5 feathers on this fly, when you really think about it. So. Okay, so then I'm going to go on this side. See how gotta go to my right.
There you go. No,
And if you
perfect.
see how I'm just kind of tying it in there, the thread always wants to turk it forward, but that's just life. So, but as long as I get it in there close enough, I'm good enough for it. So, let's see here. This come down just a tad bit. Trim off. Right? I didn't do that.
For a small
Right.
free rate to do that on millimeter, huh?
I guess it's not a funny joke. Okay, so now you see where I tied in front of the wing, literally on the hook shank? What I do is I kind of hold this up, going up that shank again where I built that thread wrap, and then I come back down. And then it's good and secure in there, you see that? And then I want to check this out to see that cup down. It's gonna, look, I'm taking a test drive, right? Before I buy the car, basically. You see how I'm doing that? Make sure it's going the way that I want it. So far, looking pretty good. Something cool. That's good. Now, I can get rid of this part. So I basically tied it in from the hook, and then I ran my thread going up and back down, and this is hanging in there ready to go. So it's important that your thread kind of matches your dubbing. You don't have to do it the way that I'm going to show you, but it's just a matter of principle here of how I like to do mine. And you put a pretty good fair amount. Remember, this is a pretty chunky beast, right? You know, green drake. Depending on what part you're fishing on, they can be even more bigger and chunky. So I build up a pretty good amount of dubbing on this guy around the wing. And what I'm going to do is you notice where my thread is right now? It's right in front of that wing post. And the thread is important to match your dubbing of the fly. Because believe it or not, when I tie it off, I'm going to take a wrap right through in this dubbing. So you have a light yellow fly and you got green olive thread. It's going to show through it. So you kind of want them to match. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? So you did a nice job dubbing, but you're going to kind of use the thread and go right through it. So I'm going to go, and guess what? I got sandpaper in here, you know, so put that on there like that. These rotator pliers are great, ain't they? And go right down and through there. And that's probably about all as I want to go. Now, see in my left hand? I'm going to come up right through that dubbed area, right in front of that wing, and I'm coming down. You notice how I'm holding this up here like this? I'm going to let go of this. Always keeping tension. I'm gonna pull up on this just a little bit as I lighten up so it sets up on top of that dubbing. I'm gonna lift everybody up, and I'm gonna take that thread directly up to the eye and form. So I went once through the dubbing, see how that's sticking on top of there like that? And then I come up through there and finish it off. Now one thing I like to do for a safety measure is put a little half hitch in there, maybe a couple. See that? Cool. Now, carefully with the scissors. Find that stem, then open it up and decapitate. And not too bad actually for that. I kept a lot of the material up where I wanted it, right? You know, up in that area. And got a little scrabblers in there. And now I'll just come in and finish this off the best I can without messing everybody up.
So now you get multiple fish out of the one fly?
Yeah, I did. Well, you know, here's what's funny. I'll tell you the story. Now, I've used this before, and it's done really good.